Hello there. I've just come back from doing the Mod 1 motorbike test in Swansea. I had one day of motorbike lessons, basically where they went through the first and second gear, slow manoeuvring, weaving in and out of cones, figure of eight, emergency stop, the fast speed avoidance. Yeah, and I did it first time and I passed just now, about an hour ago. I would just like to give you a bit of feedback for anybody who's going for it for the first time. Now, basically, the lessons, when I first went there, I struggled with it a bit off balance. Just to give a bit of feedback on it, make sure you have the clutch out about halfway and you get a good biting point. And the bike, because it's a big bike, from your 125, it is a lot different. You don't have to rev it as hard to get the bike going. Just put it out a little bit and the bike will want to go forward. Remember always to do your shoulder checks, your lifesavers. They will be watching out for that. So as you pull away, control it with your back brake, and give it a bit of throttle. Make sure the throttle is there, so because it pushes the bike forward, so you'll have more stability. So the bike won't want to fall, because even though you're touching the back brake, it'll keep wanting to go forward. So you start the test with you're parked on one side of a bay which is marked with cones, and you've got to turn it round to the other end of another lane which is about 4 meters away. Now, what some people do is grab the bike, make sure you do your lifesavers, all your checks around you, and you get the bike and you wheel it backwards all the way around to the other end of the cone. You can do that, but the easier option, they don't show you on some of the YouTube videos, is that you are allowed just to wheel it backwards, put your front hand on the bar and your back hands on the back handlebar where you can grab onto, wheel it back, then move your right hand or left hand, whichever, to both handlebars, push it forward and then turn it back, like you're doing a 3-point turn in a car. So you go back, forward, and then back again. And make sure you do your lifesavers, and that should result in a pass. No problem at all. Next thing is the slalom and the figure of eight. Now, this can be tricky, but again, don't panic, don't stress. What you need to do is get that throttle going, make sure the revs are up, control the back brakes, and what you don't see on the YouTube videos, but actually when you're doing it, is plenty of space. You can just weave in and out, no problem at all. Just take your time, don't rush it, don't go too slow. The key to the Mod 1 is don't go too slow. As long as the speed's up, you will pass, 100%. I went there first time, 4 hours of lessons, I think it was probably less, about 3 hours of lessons, a novice on bikes, and I passed first time, no problem at all. So once you weave in and out of the cones, then you end up with the figure of eight. Now you go, again on the YouTube videos, some of them I haven't noticed it, but when you go for a figure of eight, you're allowed to miss one of the cones on the inside, so you can go up to the second cone. So you're allowed to miss one of the cones, so you weave out, and then you come back in and round again, and you're allowed to miss one of the cones to make it a bigger figure of eight. And that will make the bike so much, makes the maneuver easier because you've got more space. But make sure you get the throttle. As long as you keep the revs up to about 2,500, 3,000 revs, and keep that rev there, and you'll go round nicely without the bike wanting to tip. And then once you've done about 2 or 3 figure of eights, the examiner will put his hand up and you'll come to tell you to pull over to the side. You pull over to the side, and then it'll be the slow ride. Now the slow ride is a piece of piss. No problems at all. Bit of throttle, put the clutch out, and away you go. Put your foot on the back brake and just slowly ride. Easy. Anybody, you can do it, no problem at all. Then was my biggest worry, the U-turn. Now the U-turn can be very tricky, but again, the key to this is keep the revs up. Get your head round as well. Make sure your head is round. So you're looking behind you while you're turning, and that will bring the bike round. Keep the revs up, control it with the back brake, but not too much back brake, and the bike will just come round without any issues. No problem at all. I was stressed about it, but I made it no problem at all. Then the examiner come up with a clipboard and show you a diagram. Basically, you go round the track, and on the other side, and you've got to go through this speed trap, but this time the speed trap's not on, and you've got to do an emergency. No, this time you've got to stop in between the cones. Again, piece of piss, no problems at all. They'll send you around again, but this test is the emergency stop. Again, no problems at all. Go round, speed sector. Don't look at the speed, because you've got to go over 30 miles per hour. Try and listen to the note of the engine, because that will tell you how fast you're going over. You'll know you were going over 30, and then slam on the front brake. Well, not slam on, but like a gradual shit, right? That's how it's explained. And then press the back brake, pull over, and do a lifesaver straight away, immediately, to see what's behind you. Knock it to first gear, look behind your shoulder again, and pull off to the cones again. No problems at all. Then the next manoeuvre will be the avoidance. Again, give yourself plenty of space and time. Make sure you do your shoulder check again. Go off, round the block. You'll know when you're above 32, 33, but aim for about 35, 36, maybe even 37, because once you go past the speed section, you want to let go of the throttle so you can just glide across the avoidance. But what you need to do, position yourself. So if you're going to avoid on the right side, position yourself so your bike is at a slight angle as you're coming through the speed sector, so the bike is already angled slightly, front pointing to the right, so you can just avoid it. Or the left, if it's the left, slightly point to the left and you can avoid it. Once you've done that, you'll pull to the cone, and the examiner will say, turn the bike around. Make sure you do your lifesavers, because the test is still going on. You go round, and once you've gone round, he'll say, right, go back to the gates where you started from. Make sure you do all your shoulder checks. Don't put your foot on the floor at any point of the test. That's why I say keep the speed up on the revs, because that will be an immediate fail. Yeah, so do not put your foot down. Go fast, rev it hard, keep the speed up. You won't drop the bike. No chance at all. Your foot won't hit the floor. So yeah, so as you're about to leave the gates to get out of the test center, he'll say park up on the side. Again, remember, do your shoulder checks and go around nicely and park up nicely. And one thing I forgot is when you come into the test center, you parked at the gates, make sure you drive in when the examiner says do your shoulder checks, because the test actually starts before you enter the gates. I hope this helps you and gives you a little bit of an advice, but don't panic, don't stress. It looks harder on YouTube on the videos than it actually is. I just went out on it. Like I said, I was a novice rider. I haven't been riding much at all. I did 3 hours of lessons, I think, and I was fine. Key is clutch. Get that clutch out, keep the throttle going, don't let the clutch all the way out, always keep it in the middle, and 2,500, 3,000 revs, always touching the back brake. I know they might not say, I always kept my foot over the back brake and always was touching it, off it, just to keep control of the bike, so it wasn't going too fast, but yeah, I was keeping the revs up as well to stabilise the bike. I hope that gives everybody a bit of insight into the water one. It's not frightening, keep calm, it's not nerve-wracking, it's not the end of the world. Just go in there, take your time, make sure you understand the manoeuvres beforehand, yeah, and just get it done. It's not the end of the world. You can complete it. Okay, great, ta-da.